Shivers, The Enchanted Attic by M.D. Spencer. Chapter 20. Nicole jumped out of the chair and headed for the attic. Suddenly, everything seemed to make sense. There were pages and pages of the history left to read, but she had to check on something first, to see if she was right, to see if she was really starting to understand what was going on. She scrambled up the ladder and scooted along the passageway on all fours as fast as she could. She bounded up the dark staircase, not caring which ones were dangerous, the beam of the flashlight zigzagging in front of her. At the top, she jammed the key into the lock and shoved the door open with her shoulder. She ran to the middle of the room, flung open the lid of the trunk, and shone the light inside. There were perhaps 24 dolls piled up inside. Nicole took a deep breath to calm herself and began to sort through them. One by one, she placed them on the floor beside the trunk, handling each one more tenderly than she had ever handled any dolls of her own. Because if she was right, these were more than just dolls, much more. The bride. That would be Lenore, who had died in the accident on the way to her wedding. The scholar in the graduation cap and gown. That must be Henry, who had died the morning of his college graduation. These must be the ghosts of those who had lived in this house and died before their time. The witch in Salem must have transformed their spirits into dolls, so the old man could take them out and see them again and not feel so lonely and deserted and filled with grief. His children and grandchildren were still dead, as the witch had said they would be. And yet, in a way, they were still here, too, still in the house. Nicole removed some of the dolls, or whatever they were. Then she saw what she had been looking for. She picked it up gently and examined it in the beam of her flashlight. It was a doll in the image of a young man. His black hair was parted in the middle. He wore gold-rimmed spectacles and a serious expression. He was dressed in a white shirt, bow tie, and black formal jacket with tails. He was seated in a chair. Against his left shoulder rested a cello. Nicole sighed, and her whole body seemed to relax. At least now she knew what she was dealing with. This, surely, was John Fowler, the musician who had died the day before he was to give his first big concert in Boston. He was the one who had been making the mournful music that had disturbed her sleep and made her weep. Nicole didn't know what she was supposed to do now, but at least now there were some things she did know. No ghosts had been playing with the dolls, putting them in different parts of the attic. No mouse had been playing the cello. The dolls somehow came to life themselves and played music and moved around and did who knew what else. And there was something else Nicole now knew. She wasn't crazy. This stuff, the music, the scuffling noises, the dolls moving into different positions, had really been happening. It hadn't been her imagination, or too many books, or just plain insanity. It was real. Scary things were happening, but losing her mind wasn't one of them. Her body relaxed so much she felt like collapsing. She hadn't realized how tense she had been. But now the tension was gone, and her legs felt rubbery. She was about to leave the attic, and perhaps even take a nap, when something in the trunk caught her eye. There was a doll, smaller than many of the others, with bright, shoulder-length golden blonde hair. It looked like a child. Nicole gently picked it up. Then she screamed. It was Casey.